Aldo 68. Try the French. Yeah, he plays some kind of anti-French. Oh, just going for the exchange variation. That is also okay for white. That's a bit unusual. Let's see. Usually they just develop the other bishop. So is there a problem with that move? And I could move the knight and attack the bishop, which is loose there. I could immediately oppose bishops, or give a check first and then come back and oppose the bishop. Or I could just develop. Yeah, I'm not sure. The trade of bishops would help me or not. So we will avoid it for now. I'll just get castled. Stop the pin. So my bishop can later go to d6 if I want it to. He hasn't committed his knight or his c-pawn. Now he does. And I haven't either. I was sort of waiting to see. So with the pawn here, he cannot develop the knight normally, but he can bring it out to d2. I can pin. Let's go ahead and do the pin now. I might want to play c5 directly. And having these pieces lined up here will take the pressure off my d-pawn if he decides to. He could take here and give me an isolated queen's pawn. And if he does that, I don't want the don't want the immediate pressure on my pawn. Oh, but he didn't. Okay, let's continue developing. His bishop and queen battery is the wrong way round. If the bishop were here and the queen were here, then he just has to get rid of my knight and checkmate me. But as it is, even if my knight weren't here, the bishop here just results in a check. No big deal. So my bishop is defended. My knight is defended. I could go ahead and take here and let him have the bishop pair. I take, he takes the bishop. Now I have a good intermediate move there. Or do I just take back? He takes back. I take the pawn. Well, then he has this. No, I think this actually maybe wins a pawn for me, unless he takes the knight, and then he can take back. Might be an interesting way for him to play. Yeah, he took the knight. Now he can take back here, and now I've got a backward c-pawn. I could play c5, he takes, and then bring the rook over to try and win it back. He could defend it with b4. So I guess I'll bring the rook over first. And yes, he clamps down, but that's a loose pawn. So I don't know if that accomplishes what he planned to accomplish with it. Unless there's a trick. Is there a trick here I'm not seeing? He gets to activate his rook. So I could oppose bishops now. This would force a trade. And having the bishop here and pushing the c-pawn forward looks like it might be interesting. So let's go with that. Oh, I see. He's attacking my a-pawn. Yeah, I don't really want to trade. Don't really want to trade the c-pawn for the a-pawn. say I save my c pawn. Well, it's not even under attack, but if I fail to defend my a pawn, he takes it. He's got this outside passer here, which could become dangerous in the end game. Let's see, could I play just something different? On the other hand, I don't want to just move my rook back to a8. Maybe that's the right move. Could play rook here. I mean, could play pawn to a5. I'm not so worried about his pressure on my bishop. I can always move it to d6 and trade it off. Yeah, I guess if I had played rook a8, he would just take my c-pawn anyway. He could play rook a7. Hey, I don't have a good answer to rook a7. He's attacking the pawn. If I defend with the rook, then okay, but he didn't. But anyway, rook a7. Yeah, if I defend with the rook, then I lose the c-pawn. If I try to bring the queen out to attack his rook, he takes my bishop. So anyway, we will take... Oh, maybe I should have played bishop b4. I'd kind of calculated this move in advance. But maybe it's not best. Well, bishop b4, he could kick it with a3. So we'll see what he does. He's going to take his time on this move, I guess. I've been spending more time than usual. We're only on move 17. But we have an increment. Okay, that's what I was expecting. Now I can defend the pawn with rook a8 if he plays rook a7. So he attacks it with the queen. Now he brings the knight in. So I was thinking I could bring my bishop back to chase his rook away. He could always bring the rook to e7, it looks like. Let's kick the knight. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. So now knight to d7. He takes. I take with the bishop. Where else is the knight going? Knight here, 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 here. Yeah, let's let's get rid of that unwelcome visitor here. The bishop is defending the knight. I hope he can't find some clever tactic to interfere with that. He's going to try. Okay, so I could take his knight. And then if he takes back with a pawn, I'll have two pieces hanging. So I can't do that, actually. I take it back. Oh, so he wants to exchange his knight for my bishop. That's his plan. I guess. Yep, seems that's what he wanted. Okay, so I'm thinking of pushing either the c-pawn or the e-pawn. And then I'll have a pawn duo in the center of the board. Should be pretty powerful. if I can manage to arrange that. Okay, so he targets the c-pawn. Can I ignore that somehow? If I push and he takes, I'll take with the knight, and he takes with the queen. That's no good. I could, however, target his f-pawn, queen to f4. Or I could defend. Give up that a-pawn. I could even push the a-pawn forward, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to focus on the center pawns and not worry so much about the a-pawn now. So I'm going to push, let him take, and push again when he takes the pawn. Yeah, I've got to move. I've got to move. The thing is, this queen takes pawn and hits my knight. I could push to hit his bishop. When he takes the knight, it's hitting my queen. He does this. 2 defenders, 2 attackers. I think I'm still okay. And a fork on the the bishop and the rook. Yeah, I think it was more dangerous to me if he just took that pawn. Now he can't take it even. So he hits my queen. Let's just drop back. Yeah, it's tough when you're low on time like this. Goes there. Okay, let's bring the knight forward, hitting the f-pawn, hitting his rook. Takes there. Grabs a pawn. Oh, and covers there. Here, let's pin his bishop. Okay, covered that. He ran out of time. Yeah, it's tough to move that quickly in a complicated position. I wanted to threaten this. Stop. I wanted to threaten this. Knight here would attack the pinned bishop. But he brought his rook back just in time. And it not only defends against here, it defends against here. So it's a bit tricky. I mean, I'm still... Oh, the pawns are even. We both have passed pawns. He could win this endgame, actually, if he managed to get all the pieces off. Do I have... Maybe I have knight here. Yeah, knight there attacks the pinned bishop. And if he takes it, I'll take with the queen. And or the rook, maybe, and mate him. Looks pretty good. Maybe it's not a mate, but it looks good. Okay. Yeah, I think I was doing well there. But well, I had to find that move. I don't know if I would have found that in the time left. Anyway, let's go and play a rapid game. Let's start with d4. d5, the Queen's Gambit. Plays the Slav defense. Play the normal the normal response here, stopping e5, preventing the win-hour gambit. So here I'll play the slow Slav, just defending this pawn. And we could get into the Moran variation. He went for the semi-Slav with the whole pawn triangle. But he's developing. Oh, he's waiting for me to develop my bishop, and then maybe he can take. He might have put his bishop on d6. Okay, he's not taking yet. The Moran variation involves taking on c4, bishop takes, and then pawn to b5, kicking the bishop back. Interesting way for black to get counterplay on the queen side. But he's going for a quieter setup. Looks like he's going to fianchetto his bishop here. Maybe try and get something going along this diagonal. So my usual plan when they don't take is to, and after I've castled so this knight is no longer pinned, my usual plan is just to defend this pawn. And I don't see anything really wrong with that. He can bring his bishop out quickly to attack my knight, but I can defend it in a couple different ways. I can defend with the bishop or the queen or the bishop here. So maybe I will push my e-pawn forward to open up this diagonal for my dark squared bishop. So now he takes, but when he takes now, I can take back with a pawn instead of taking with the bishop, so we don't get into the Moran variation or anything like it. And so then he undermines the center and opens up this diagonal for his queen, for his bishop. So let's think. e4 could be played. It's a funny line, I guess. e4, pawn takes, knight here to recapture the pawn, pawn here to defend it, but then I can take that pawn. What else could he do besides taking? It's tempting to open things up. I've got slightly better development. He's still got two pieces on the queen side not developed, and e4 would develop this dark squared bishop and his light squared bishop. It's not immediately going anywhere. And if he doesn't respond, I can follow up with, if he doesn't take, then I can follow up with e5. So he took e5, and then after the trade I would have a pawn duo here in the center. It'd be pretty formidable looking. So I wonder if I have something like a Greek gift sacrifice here. Okay, I'll push this pawn forward. His knight will go either to g4 or back to d7, I guess, attacking my pawn. I take over here with check. The king comes out. Bring my knight here with check. The king moves, and then I grab his knight if it's here. And if it's not here, then I can bring my queen out with the mate threat. Let's see if I can pull this off. Yeah, always a challenge to play something like this against a good player, because there are a lot of ways to defend against the Greek gift sacrifice. Not always working, but some work. Okay, so he just retreated, so that means when I play the check, I won't be picking up his knight. But I will have a dangerous-looking attack. Knight here. So let's go. Bishop takes here. King takes. Knight here, check. And then if the king goes back, the queen comes out to here, threatening to come to h7 with mate and threatening to come to f7. So he doesn't have time to take this pawn. Oh, and the queen's defending it anyway. Yeah, that's usually enough to make it a good sacrifice. Having, let's see. Yeah, I could bring the queen forward here after. If he brings the king forward, I also have the option of queen up to d3. Let's play it. I have the knight hopping into this square at some point, maybe. At the moment, he would probably just trade it off. Although a trade there would, a trade here would give me a pawn here, and that would be covering this escape square for his king. But anyway, I'll play this part. He went back. I think going back was a mistake. He needed to come forward if he wanted to have a fight. But this pawn here, again, is blocking a key square, so his king from this square would not be able to easily walk back into his camp. So maybe he had no good answer. Yeah, always be on the lookout for that Greek gift sacrifice in these queen's pawn positions when these diagonals open up. It's very dangerous. This configuration of pieces: bishop, knight, and queen. Queen here, bishop here, knight here, and then this bishop defending the knight so that he can't take it. Now, this is where you have to be precise. If you just go here, there's a danger the king might walk out. So you go here first, take on f7, the king goes here. You come back with check, the king goes there, you come here with check. King goes there to f8, you go to h8 with check, the king runs here, then you can take this pawn with check, and that is mate. Yeah, so it's actually a forced mate from this position. So if I was one of those fancy players from the Romantic era, I would announce mate in 5 or whatever that was. That's about as far as I can calculate, and I can only figure that out because I've seen this pattern before. And notice the key role of this pawn. Also the knight. The knight is guarding that square. It's guarding his exit. But that's a very important wrinkle in this pattern, to take on f7 first. Take on f7 first and then come back and then take on h7. So he decided to play it out. That was nice of him. So let's just back up for a second. What was that? I'm just curious. That was a mate in how many? Yeah, when he played here, it's my turn to move, and it's a mate in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a mate in 5, and every move is with check. Okay, well, that was quick. So let's play a faster time control here. 3 + 2 maybe. Round out this session. See if I can keep up my good luck. Now I'm going to get killed. The faster the time control, the worse I play. But it's for entertainment's sake. Yeah, also the other problem with these faster time controls is I don't have as much time for commentary. I'm stopping the pin, and I am creating a weakness here, so he maybe could have taken advantage of that somehow. Maybe he is going to find a way. Yeah, it looks like he's played this before. Let's put that pawn up there, stop those pawns from marching forward, and bring my knight around. So yeah, I didn't lose the center. I'm going to get a decent result here, I think. If he takes my bishop, it'll open up the C file for me. I mean, it's good for him to pull pawns away from the center, and it'll leave me with a weak D pawn. But I'll have some compensation. Okay, so what to do now? I really don't want to take his bishop because it'll just open up his F file. That'll be part of his attack. I could put my knight on F5 right now. I'll bring the other knight around. Get a knight to F4. Yeah, there he goes. So am I going to ignore that or am I going to take? Let's see if I put a knight there. I think it might be a problem if I put a knight there. So where to with the bishop? I could put a knight here now. But I don't know what it does. It's hard to get my queen into that area. It's a little bit crowded over there. And there may be something he can do. Oops. If I put my bishop here and he takes, I can take back with a knight. But if I put my bishop here and he pushes the pawn forward and move my bishop, then my knight is in danger of getting trapped. Oh, it can still come back here. Let's see what he wants to do here. He does want to do that. Okay. Then he takes there. Okay, so no pressure on this knight. Want to bring my knight to e4 next, but e5 rather, but he could just take it. So let's put the rook here first. I don't want to put the rook on the c file just yet. I'll have a chance to do that. And I'm kind of waiting for the right opportunity here. And I didn't want to just chase his queen to a better square. This is a move worth considering, probably. Okay, so I've got two knights looking at d3. Is that any good? I'll just take that. No sense leaving that knight there. Okay, but now I do have a problem, don't I? So knight forward to d3, or back here, or threaten mate. Why don't we threaten mate? Okay, so check. Or check. Now the check there, he's got it covered. Or retreat. Forward here. How about this? Threaten to win this pawn. And it can come back to c. It can come back to c5. He hits my queen. Okay, drop back. Could give a check first, but but then my knight would be loose. He had an idea. Okay, let's attack his knight. He retreated. Well, I can move my knight. Oh, I can't move my knight. My knight is hanging. That's the problem. That is the problem. Yep. Looks like he got me. I can go here with the check. Just to get a check in. And I can attack his knight. You know, his bishop is guarding this pawn too. Oh, I ran out of time. Well, anyway, he was beating me fair and square, so it wasn't just a time loss. Anyway, that's it for this session. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.